August 29, 1526. A flat, marshy plain near the town of Mohacs, in southern Hungary. In under 2 hours of actual fighting, one of Europe's oldest and most powerful medieval kingdoms is effectively destroyed. Its king is dead. Most of its senior nobility and clergy are dead. And the Kingdom of Hungary, as an independent, unified state, will never fully exist in that form again. The man who delivered that defeat was Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, at the height of Ottoman military power. The man who lost everything was King Louis II of Hungary, barely 20 years old, leading his kingdom's army into a battle many of his own commanders had begged him not to fight yet. Here is the detail that makes this battle so brutal, even by the standards of the era. The young king did not die on the battlefield itself. He survived the fighting, only to drown in a small stream while fleeing, weighed down by his own heavy armor, unable to climb out of the water. His body would not be found for weeks. Before we go further, everything in this video comes from documented history, contemporary Hungarian and Ottoman accounts, the records of the Hungarian royal court, and the work of modern historians who have studied this battle in detail. This is Mohacs, 1526. By the 1520s, the Kingdom of Hungary had spent decades as one of the primary front lines against Ottoman expansion into Central Europe. Suleiman the Magnificent, who had become Sultan in 1520, had already captured the fortress of Belgrade in 1521, a major blow that removed one of Hungary's key southern defenses. In 1526, Suleiman personally led a massive campaign deep into Hungarian territory, intending to strike directly at the heart of the kingdom. Hungary's response was hampered by chronic internal division. The kingdom's nobility was split into rival political factions, its treasury was in poor condition, and reinforcements from allied regions, most critically, forces under John Zapolya, the powerful voivode of Transylvania, had not yet arrived when the Ottoman army approached. King Louis II, young and under pressure from factions at court eager to prove Hungarian strength rather than weight, chose to meet the Ottoman army in open battle at Mohacs rather than retreat and consolidate with Zapolya's forces first. Command of the Hungarian army in the field was given to Archbishop Pál Tomori, a military commander as well as a churchman, a common arrangement for the period, though one that placed enormous responsibility on a man leading an army badly outmatched in both size and firepower. Modern historians estimate the Ottoman force at somewhere in the range of 50,000 to 70,000 combat troops, backed by extensive and highly effective artillery, a key Ottoman advantage throughout this era. The Hungarian army, by contrast, is generally estimated at around 25,000 men, with far fewer cannons and none of the disciplined Ottoman Janissary infantry that anchored Suleiman's center. The battle itself began in the afternoon of August 29, 1526. Hungarian heavy cavalry opened with an aggressive charge that initially broke through parts of the Ottoman front line, a real documented early success that briefly suggested the battle might not go as badly as feared. That success didn't last. As the Hungarian cavalry pushed deeper into the Ottoman formation, they were funneled directly into prepared Ottoman artillery positions and the disciplined ranks of the Janissary infantry, who held their ground under the charge and then response fire, decimating the attacking Hungarian force at close range. Ottoman flanking cavalry then moved to encircle the remaining Hungarian forces, cutting off retreat and turning the engagement into a rout rather than a battle. Contemporary accounts describe the fighting itself lasting under 2 hours before the Hungarian army had effectively ceased to exist as an organized force. Archbishop Tomori was among those killed. So were a significant portion of Hungary's senior clergy and nobility, in numbers historians describe as catastrophic for a kingdom that relied heavily on that same class of nobles to administer its lands and raise future armies. King Louis II fled the collapsing battlefield with a small group of retainers. According to Hungarian records, his horse fell while crossing the Seal Creek near the battlefield, and Louis, weighed down by heavy plate armor, drowned in the water before he could be pulled free. His body was recovered from the marsh weeks after the battle, after an extensive search. With the king dead, the battle's senior clergy largely dead, and the field army destroyed, Hungary had no immediate unified force capable of resisting further Ottoman advance. Suleiman's forces occupied the Hungarian capital Buda shortly afterward, looting the city, but notably, the Ottomans did not immediately garrison and permanently hold Buda at this stage. Suleiman withdrew his main army south again after this initial occupation, water before he could be pulled free. His body was recovered from the marsh weeks after the battle, after an extensive search. With the king dead, the battle's senior clergy largely dead, and the field army destroyed, Hungary had no immediate unified force capable of resisting further Ottoman advance. Suleiman's forces occupied the Hungarian capital Buda shortly afterward, looting the city, but notably, the Ottomans did not immediately garrison and permanently hold Buda at this stage. Suleiman withdrew his main army south again after this initial occupation, a detail that matters for understanding what actually happened to Hungary next. So, here's where the title needs a more precise look. Mohacs did not physically destroy the Kingdom of Hungary as a territory in one afternoon. It destroyed something more specific and in some ways more devastating: the kingdom's unified political and military leadership, its king, and the core of its noble class, all at once, in under 2 hours. What followed was not immediate full Ottoman occupation, but nearly a decade and a half of contested succession and civil conflict. Two rival claimants emerged to the Hungarian throne almost immediately: John Zápolya, the Transylvanian voivode whose forces had arrived too late to fight at Mohacs, and Archduke Ferdinand of Austria, brother of Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, who claimed the throne through marriage ties to the Hungarian royal family. Hungary spent the following years split between these two rival kings, each backed by different external powers, Zápolya increasingly by the Ottomans, Ferdinand by the Habsburgs. It was only in 1541, 15 years after Mohacs, that the Ottomans moved to directly annex central Hungary and permanently occupy Buda, transforming it into an Ottoman administrative province. From that point forward, Hungary existed as three separate pieces for roughly the next century and a half: Ottoman Hungary in the center and south, Habsburg-controlled Royal Hungary in the north and west, and the semi-independent, Ottoman vassal Principality of Transylvania in the east. That three-way division didn't end until the final decades of the 17th century, when Habsburg forces, following the failed Ottoman siege of Vienna in 1683, gradually reconquered Ottoman Hungary over the following years, formalized by treaty in 1699. So the full unified destruction of independent Hungary wasn't a 2-hour event. It was a 2-hour catastrophe that triggered a century and a half of fragmentation, foreign occupation, and civil war, with Mohacs itself as the single sudden hinge point that made all of it possible. Here is the irony worth sitting with. Hungary's nobility pushed King Louis II toward an early, decisive battle specifically because they feared what delay and division would do to the kingdom's strength and unity. Their impatience, intended to protect Hungarian sovereignty, instead produced the single fastest and most complete collapse of that sovereignty in the kingdom's history, while the very division and infighting they were trying to avoid became Hungary's defining condition for the next 150 years anyway. Mohacs remains, to this day, one of the most significant dates in Hungarian national memory, a byword in the Hungarian language itself for sudden catastrophic disaster, in much the same way Kosovo carries similar weight in Serbian memory after 1389. The lesson underneath the drama is a hard one. Sometimes the decision to act decisively, out of fear of appearing weak or divided, causes exactly the outcome it was meant to prevent. Louis II chose to fight fast rather than wait and unify his full strength. He got his fast battle. It lasted less than 2 hours. And it cost Hungary its independence for the next 150 years. This has been the Battle of Mohács, 1526.